Okay, perfect. So today we have Mike with us, and he wants to share a little bit about his journey with aphasia with the community so that we can shed some light on what it's like to have aphasia from someone who's been dealing with aphasia for quite some time now. So, hi, Mike. It's nice to
Hi.
meet you. Thank you for joining us today. I know that when we got together, you were really interested in advocating for people with aphasia. And today we're just going to chat about aphasia, about your journey. And, you can share whatever you'd like to share, and we'll ask a couple of questions, okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right, perfect. So why don't you go ahead and start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your journey with aphasia?
All right. My name is Dwight Mike Library. I came from the Caribbean island of Nevis. Nevis is a small island. The population of Nevis is 13,000 people. I came here to go to Herbert Lehman College in 1990. I studied accounting. I will give you my journey with aphasia. In September 2010, I had a very serious headache. I told my wife how I was feeling. She told me that it seemed like I have a stroke. I had a stroke. After that, we went to the hospital. In the hospital, I suffered a stroke and went into a coma for 3 days. The doctor went to my brain to remove the blood clot. When I woke, my right side of my body was paralyzed. I could not talk, read, walk, or write. I had a complete global aphasia. Problems understanding what others said, trouble finding the word, trouble speaking, like trouble speaking, like getting the word out, inability to process long words. I spent 5 weeks in the hospital, and in the hospital, I did physical, occupation, and speech therapy. I was a child again. After I left the hospital, I went to Blundell Center to do my therapy for 4 years. In 2014, until now, 2023, I went to Lehman College to do my speech therapy. In 2010, when I had my stroke, to the present day, I have come so far with my life in a very good way. I can talk, I can walk with a brace on my right foot. I can talk again. I can write with my left hand, and I can read again, and I can drive again. Be patient. Look at me now. I can have a conversation with you. Many people believe that brain damage is permanent, but it is not true. Undamaged areas of the brain compensate for the damaged area of the brain, therefore allowing for new skill to be acquired.
That's right. Thank you for sharing, Mike. So you've come a long way since 2010. I can definitely tell from where you said you started to having the conversation with me now. And I think it's important for everyone to know you may be looking at your notes, but you're the one who wrote your notes down.
Yes.
So it's just kind of like any other speaker. Sometimes notes just help us get through, and you've made a lot of strides along the way to get to where you are today. Can you tell us a little bit about how you felt initially when you had your stroke? You said that you weren't, you had global aphasia. You weren't able to, find the words that you were looking for and understand people when they spoke to you like you can now. So how did that feel for you?
It's feel like one thing that I said to myself that I will read again. I will walk again. I will talk again. And I will read again. I had my bachelor's of science in accounting and my master's. When my stroke came on, I lose my accounting sense.
Mm-hmm.
But now I could go back and I could remember a lot of things that I did for accounting. Let's say I put it in myself to fight and never give up.
I think that's an important quality to have, and that's something that I've seen, it makes a difference when you have hope and you have the mindset to be a fighter and to push through. As a therapist, I see, those things in some of my clients, and you can definitely tell the clients who push through and persevere are the ones who put the time in and, ask the questions and are dedicated to their therapies. So it sounds like you had some different therapists that worked with you along the way. So that gets us to our second question. What types of professional help did you receive along your journey? And what did you learn from those type of therapists and people that helped you along the way?
Okay. My journey with aphasia for my journey with aphasia for professional help that I need were with my doctors, my coordinators of speech therapy, physical therapists, occupational therapists, and speech therapists, and the clinic center. And I want to put something else.
Sure.
It's not professional help, but I want to say I put my family and my friend in the conversation who were there for me through my struggle having aphasia.
You certainly can't do it alone, right? So
yes,
it sounds like you had a really great support team, not only professionally with different types of therapists, but the people who surrounded you in your everyday life, like your family and your friends. I mean, how did that impact your relationships with other people?
It's I am grateful for them because without them, my professional peer, my family, my friends, even my neighbors, I will not be so far ahead.
It reminds me of that quote that people say, like, it takes a village. I think
Really?
about that before. It's really in our life, like others to help us, just like we would be there for someone if something happened to them. It's just so nice to know that there are people around us to help us through those, I guess, those things that we don't expect to happen to us, right? Because you didn't expect a stroke to happen. And whenever you needed, your family and everybody, your friends, it seemed like everyone was there, and that actually made the difference for you, it sounds like.
Yes. And I learned a lot of things working with the professional people. But you have to be patient while working with them. Do not get annoyed. Keep doing the things that they ask you to do.
It's important to have your feedback. You're the client, right? You're the patient. Like, this is what we talk about when we talk about patient-centered care. It's not about me as the therapist, it's about you. So we should listen to what you're saying works and what your concerns are. That's a great point.
Okay.
So let's go on to our next question. So what should viewers know about communicating with someone with aphasia?
Viewers know with wait, okay. They should know be patient when you are talking with someone who have aphasia. People who have aphasia need some time to think and respond. Do not interrupt and do not rush them. Encourage independence. That is how someone with aphasia would gain more independence. Be respectful. People with aphasia appreciate others who understands that their communication is impaired, not their intelligent. We are still smart.
I think that's a great point. So sometimes I think people who are not familiar with different types of disabilities aren't quite sure how to respond appropriately in an appropriate social manner. Sometimes I feel like they want to be respectful, but they don't really know how. So I love the points that you made about giving extra time to respond, not interrupting. Speaking slowly is also very helpful. It's hard for me because I'm naturally a fast speaker. My family's Italian, so we're usually always very fast, and multiple people are usually talking at one time, but it's important to know who your communication partner is. And so when you're speaking with someone with aphasia, it's important to take their input and the things that we know about aphasia and implement certain skills into having a conversation with someone with aphasia. So those were some really great points, Mike. And I'll also add some other helpful tips for communicating with people with aphasia into this video as a link. So that'll be really helpful. So what other tips or advice would you give someone who has recently been diagnosed with aphasia? That comes to our number 4 question.
Okay. Number 4, be patient. I would ask you, be patient. Do not worry about what people think of you. You have to live your own life. Think positive every day. It is a rough road that you have to pass. You are a fighter.
Those are some great tips and advice. Thank you so much for sharing. I know everyone goes through their own particular journey when they have a stroke or have aphasia. So it's important to know everyone's journey is going to look different. But I think those are really great tips, that it really does matter your mindset and just being hopeful and patient that the work you're going to put in is going to pay off. So
yes,
you know firsthand about that. So
yeah.
So our number 5 question is, how has your journey with aphasia changed over time? I know that in the beginning you were in the hospital, you had some therapy, but when you first had aphasia, that was over maybe 13 years ago. So how has your journey changed over time? What has it looked like along the way?
Along the way, I was very, very sick. when I had aphasia. I had to relearn my ABCs and 1 to 10. This year, 2023, will make 13 years with aphasia. I told myself I will read again and talk again and write again and walk again. Now, the 4 things that I explained to the audience. I have accomplished all 4 of them. Let's look at the rough road that I traveled to get to the smooth road. I can talk again.
Mhm.
I can read again. I can walk again. And I can write with my left hand. I am a fighter and still fighting.
That's awesome, Mike. And so you said that you can read again, and now you've actually, I'm assuming, were you right-handed before?
Right.
Yeah, and so you learned to write with your left hand. So
yes.
some things kind of changed a little bit, but that's okay. It's your new normal, right? You figured out
Yes.
how to make a new normal.
Yes, and I could write with my left hand as good as my right hand.
That's awesome. I've tried that a couple of times. It's not so good. So it just takes practice though, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's great. So let's talk about our next question. So what kind of resources do you have or would you recommend for other people with aphasia? Since you've had aphasia for so long and you have a really in-depth journey, what are some of the things that really helped you along your journey to be successful?
Okay. I must find a class with stroke patients or aphasia patients. People that will help me to know that I am not alone with aphasia. I will not talk. Talking is not the only way to communicate. You could get a picture to show that I could take a phone and I would I could not talk. I could tell you I would point you to the phone.
Mhm.
So I would tell you, I would point you to the phone and I would say, bring it to me. Bring it, but it's not words.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not words. I would tell you, and you will understand that I am telling you to bring the phone to me.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's other ways to communicate. It doesn't have to be just being verbal. Mhm.
Yes. Gesture, a hug, and even a hug speak volumes. But talking is the most important thing to do. You must talk until you find your voice. So talking, I would tell you, talking is very essential. I could go and show you a picture, but talking is very important. And when you talk, you will talk very slow or even forget the words today, but tomorrow you could go and talk and you will remember the word. And over time, it is very meaningful that you will come to talk again.
I think that's really important to remember, Mike, is that some days may look better than other days when it comes to your communication. And when some days are harder, you can use different methods to communicate, like gestures or, using devices like phones or, alternative communication. Whatever it is that works for you, use it those days that are harder. But just remember that eventually it's going to get a little bit easier and feel more rewarding.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree. You have some really great insight for sure. So what kinds of things have gotten easier over time for you? And has there been anything that's gotten harder over time?
Okay. The things that are getting better are understanding what a person is saying. I am able to talk now to explain myself. I can drive my car without anyone can be in my car. That is a big step for me. Driving without anybody in my car. So you could go, take your car, go to the hospital, go to the doctors, go to the supermarket. Nobody else is in my car. I can make my breakfast, lunch, and dinner without anybody to be at my side. I can go to the supermarket without a list and without anyone to accompany me. Now, the harder things, I do not feel this is the harder things, right? I think I see things that are harder for me. No, I do not see things that are harder for me. I will just put my mind through the struggle and come out on the good side of life. You understand?
Yes, of course. That's a great way to think about it.
Yes.
I mean, you've come through so much that it would be hard to see what you couldn't come over. So I think that's the key. That might be the key, Mike, is just to have that type of outlook. Like if I could come through that, I could kind of come through anything, and I just have to keep trying, find a new goal, and just kind of look to crush it, right?
Yes. Mhm.
That's a great outlook. I think, let me see, we may have one more question that we talked about. What should viewers take away from this video about aphasia? I know you expressed your desire to want to advocate for aphasia, and I want this to be your platform to say whatever you feel like you want to say about aphasia. What would you like everyone who's watching this to know?
Okay. People who watch the video, the people who have aphasia are fighters. Just be patient on those people who have aphasia. Do not rush them. Do not disrespect them. Encourage them. A person with aphasia wants to connect with you, but they need you to learn strategies too. Aphasia does not discriminate. You could have, you could play a sport. You could play baseball. We could play basketball. And next thing I heard that the man or woman who played basketball or football have a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
So aphasia does not discriminate.
It's very true. It's very true, Mike. Even with age, it doesn't discriminate, no matter what type of degree, or if you don't have a degree, it really could happen to anybody. And so even if we don't know someone with aphasia right now in our lives, I think it's important for everyone to know who's watching this that you could come across someone with aphasia at some point. Personally, my father had a stroke in his mid-30s, and my brother-in-law had a TIA in his early 30s. And so, you know, strokes can affect a lot of different types of people. And so it's always important for people to know what to look out for. I know you told us that you were having severe headaches when you first found out that you were having your stroke. So it's important that if anyone is experiencing any type of symptoms, that they make sure they go and get it checked out too, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And I also want to thank the people, right?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Yeah, because without them, without them, okay?
Mhm.
Okay. I will like to thank everybody who were there for me. My two daughters, my brothers and sisters in Nevis, St. Croix, and Curacao. Renel, who looked after me until now. The rest of my family, my friends, my neighbors, my doctors, my speech therapists, especially Anne and um, and Melissa.
Melissa.
Yes.
Mhm.
To my speech coordinators, to my physical and occupational therapists, Joel, who took me under his wing and teach me so much. I want to say thank you to Sherry, who was there for me through my sickness. Eric, Zaya, and Brantley, who are my brothers. And last, I want to give thanks to my second mother, Mrs. Lornette Esdale, who taught me speech therapy when I went to Nevis. May the Creator bless all of you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Mike. And thank you to everyone who helped you along your journey. Really, it takes a village, and I'm really happy to hear your story. Thank you for sharing it. So thankful that you had a village that helped you. And for those who feel like they may not have a village, there's definitely villages out there of people who will help you along your journey. Just like you said, Mike, find a community who has experience with this, and get the help that you need and advocate for yourself, and it will make all the difference for your success along your journey, right?
Yes. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.